welcome back to A Better World. This is your host, Mitchell J. Rabin, and we're very glad that you're joining us again today. Today we're going to have another very interesting show. Just arrived from Germany is Dr. Franz Lutz, who has been doing some very pioneering work in the use of radionics in agriculture and treating ecosystems. First, he's a medical doctor and has been in private practice for years in Cologne. And actually, through the influence of his mother, who's a naturopath and has been involved in radionics for quite some time, he got interested in energetic medicine. And they have since gotten particularly involved in treating large tracts of land as well as small, but in effect, offering everybody a chance to treat the soil and treat the plant kingdom in a very innovative way, and in a way that is pure and free from contamination. So we're very glad to have you on, Franz.
Thanks, Mitchell, for the opportunity to present my work.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we need to get it in as many venues and in front of as many chemical companies, perhaps even, as possible, so they too will get eventually on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
So just give a little bit of a background, if you would, of how in your mind you went from practicing medicine into this.
Yes, I grew up with a lot of energetic phenomena because my mother had this natural healer practice in Frankfurt before she went to Cologne, and I was always confronted with such techniques. And she did things which we know it now today call Reiki, like laying on hands, but she also used acupuncture and homeopathy. So the principle of treating patients with life energy and also providing them with information, like for example with information which are contained in homeopathy, but are not really visible, measurable, was always very common to me.
It's really interesting to have a mother who would be exposing her children to such phenomena.
Yeah. So I saw all this and I always had the feeling I wanted to research on it. I want to use it, but I also want to research on it, and I want to bring it together, this science, with our conventional so-called scholarly science.
Sure.
Yeah. And I also always wanted to study medicine. So I did that. And later on went...
So you've done both.
I'd have done both. Yeah, and I think it all fits very well together. I think it's a matter of indication. Sometimes it's just better, to treat energetically or to treat with homeopathy. And sometimes it's very useful to give an operation or to give antibiotics or so.
Everything is related to context.
That's it.
Right?
That's it. That's
Sure.
very, very
But it was interesting that you were able to make the bridge quite simply from one headset, which is scientific, and then the energetic, which is less visible, but in fact, there is a complete scientific basis to it. It's just not altogether well known.
That's it, exactly. But nowadays we are very lucky. I think our generation is very lucky in contrast to the generation of my mother, because today there are building up concepts like the chaos theory, which give us just a glance that there might be something scientific beyond holism. People in last decades believe just linear systems are scientific, just everything you can measure is scientific. And today also perceptions and the perceptions of human beings become of value, because intuition in our work plays an enormous role. So we do a lot of things, we perceive a lot of things you cannot measure. We perceive the energy status, for example, of a forest remotely, what you might call here in America remote viewing.
So part of your background in radionics is developing those psychic gifts yourself?
Yes. You can't, it's inevitable. You must have what you might call psychic gifts. Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise you cannot treat, you cannot find out which components you have to build up your treatment regime.
Then again, you could use dowsing, or you could use a pendulum, or you could use other tools in order to render a diagnosis.
Yes.
Right?
For example, we use a pendulum a lot. For us, it's a way to make our intuitive perceptions to the outside world visible. For ourselves as well, it's a good control. So
how long did it take you, Franz, to learn to use the pendulum effectively, where you could see that your diagnosis was accurate because the treatment results were effective?
Oh, that's a very interesting process. For myself, I cannot tell it because I grew up with it. So, it's like, a child in circus. When did you learn the salto?
Sure.
Sometimes it happened to that you couldn't.
Yes.
But the other thing is that with other people, I found 2 or 3 years of daily practice, you feel, experienced enough to be sure of what you are intuitively perceiving. But the interesting thing is that people, even after 1 weekend course, have a lot of perceptions which are very reliable. But then, of course, they are lacking the experience to really, classify what they are feeling. It's like, if you teach someone to use a stethoscope, he can hear the heartbeat. Of course, he can hear immediately.
Cannot necessarily interpret its meaning.
That's it.
Slower, faster, louder, softer,
that's it.
That's textures.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So you can learn to feel the energy, like you can learn how to hear a heartbeat. But then it takes years until you really can discriminate. This is that problem, this is the other problem, or this is healthy, or whatsoever.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Now, how do you then take the next step into going from the body, the human body, into, you could say, the body of the earth?
Yeah, my mother had 27 years of experience when she read the book The Secret Life of Plants of Christopher Bird and Peter Tompkins.
Yes.
And in there is a very interesting chapter about radionics. And there are also described experiments done by the Delavars in Oxford, England. And they did experiments as well with farmland and with potted plants. And my mother obtained a few of such radionic devices from England and started some treatments.
I see.
Because before that she also treated patients remotely and had some success with it, but without any devices. It's very important for me to point out that you do not need any devices for such effects. In Reiki, for example, and I think in the second course even, people learn how to do remote treatment without any devices. But if you have devices, if you use symbols, for example, like we do, you enhance the effect, you make it more reliable. So it's easier for you. It saves your own energy.
Sure.
Like we, for example, using these orgone shooters, orgone devices, Wilhelm Reich has proposed and built.
Why don't you show this to us?
Yes, I would love to.
On it.
Yeah.
So we'll come back to the environment.
So, for example, you can use these orgone shooters, which are built very similar to the orgone accumulator boxes. In there are layers of organic metal material, 12 layers all, and there's a flow of life energy from that side to the tip here, and you can use, for example, this energy if you are an acupuncturist, as far as I know you are one. You can point it on certain points on the meridians and thereby provide energy for the patient. You don't need to use your own energy, for which many therapists do. So that saves your own energy and
or the needles, for that matter.
Yes. I love personally to work without needles. So it's less pain.
Could you just give a quick idea, Franz, of the idea of Orgone as Wilhelm Reich discussed it?
Yes. Oh,
just so the viewers could be in touch with what this is shooting forth.
Of course. I think many of you know the concept of life energy. It's in so many cultures. So even the Native American cultures, I just read the Hopi, the Iroquois, they had certain words for it, and the Chinese called it chi,
vital, life force, of course.
Prana. So it's very common, and even I think in our daily life culture, if you feel tired, you say, oh, I'm running out of energy. It's not simply that you're running out of sugar, but you're running out of energy. You feel tired.
Correct.
And he felt that this life energy could be accumulated, concentrated with certain arrangements. And what he found was that metal attracts the life energy and emits it immediately. And that organic material attracts life energy but holds it. And then if you compose an arrangement, it's like this here, compose an arrangement where there is organic material, metal material, then you get a flow from the organic to the metal material. And the more layers you have, the stronger the flow is. The blue arrow shall symbolize now the orgone flow.
Yes.
So that's exactly what our little orgone shooter does.
So in short, a person who has this in contact with him or her is receiving life force.
That's it. Exactly.
Wonderful.
And the very interesting thing is what...
Orgone boxes are a ball, by the way. I love them. I've been in them off and on for years.
Also people describe that they feel warmer. And there's some studies done that even the body temperature rises. So this is something which is very interesting to observe on yourself, because the inner side of these boxes, because it's metal, is cold. but yourself become warm. So it's a fascinating phenomenon to perceive on yourself.
Now, putting on your hat as a scientist, have you been able to document the effects of orgone in the body?
Yeah. Specifically, we do it with we did experiments, for example, on potted plants, and did long-distance treatments on that. And that's how my mother started 12 years ago, when she first obtained these devices from the Delaware laboratory.
So, in your opinion, then, Franz, the energy that is being broadcast through radionics is the same energy that Wilhelm Reich was discussing and referred to as orgone?
That's what I believe.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I
just wanted to make sure, because these are two separate camps. Radionics really began, as far as I know, formally speaking, as a treatment in the early 20s in the United States, actually.
Yes.
With the work of Ruth Drown and her colleagues.
Yes.
And as usual, they were chased out of town, and the FDA were on them, and they went over to England.
Yeah.
And then really began to do a lot of the groundbreaking work there.
Yeah, but they had no concept about life energy. And what we found was 2 years ago.
But they did have a concept about vibration.
About vibration and about
Yes,
information. And that was also the basic stepping stone for us.
I see.
That we were basically just sending what we call compatible informations. So like the forest is facing a new environmental problem because there's a new type of pollution and he doesn't know what to do. He has no idea.
Yes.
So we're sending it the idea of what to do. That's basically what we did in the beginning.
I see.
But later on we found out and had the feeling that also very often life energy was lacking. And intuitively, if you're working intuitively, specifically at the therapeutic, you very often add what you don't know consciously. So you subconsciously add, for example, your own life energy if you don't have the right technique to supply it.
Right.
So that's what we did.
Interesting.
And we felt after many years of work that we were really depleted of life energy. So we were seeking for a way to build up our institute itself, but also our projects.
Yes.
And the fascinating thing for us that was life energy can be sent remotely.
Now, if you're standing on Earth, however, you can be receiving life force
Of
right
course.
there, so you yourself do not have to get depleted through the sending.
Yes, but I think that's one major problem in nowadays, and we spoke about that before the show, that worldwide I think the energetic situation is going down. We have the feeling that 10 to 15% of the charge of orgone energy, of life energy, which should be there, is now there. So 10 to 15%, it's quite low.
It's pretty dramatic.
So if you're a therapist and need to, be able to supply extra energy for your patients, you might have a hard time.
Exactly, and related to that, and I'm not sure exactly how, is the depletion of oxygen levels in the air, which of course has a certain negative charge, and so we're not getting it even from, the main translation of the word chi is as close as we can get to the word air.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
yeah, it's actually the steam lifting off of millet is what the character chi means.
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
has to do with what we'll refer to as atmospheric chi, what we receive from the air, which is oxygen.
Great.
So
Wilhelm Reich was also saying that we are also taking in a lot of, orgone by just breathing.
Breathing, sure.
So that's of
And our
course.
bodies are breathing, etc.
Yes, yes.
Well, would you like to show us some of the extraordinary examples of the effects of your work using radionics?
Yes, I would love
on
to.
the plant
Yes.
kingdom?
Yes, I showed you this photo before, and these plants are sensitive to certain herbicides. In this case, it's adrasine. It's very well known. It's now forbidden in Europe, but what we do, we contaminated soil with it. And then what we did, we treated the plants, these treated plants, to be more resistant regarding this contaminant. So, and then you can see that the treated ones grew much better than the untreated ones.
And over how much time?
About 2 months. A treatment regime is, let's say, 2 hours a day, and it lasts for 2 weeks, and then we set up a new regime with new information. Usually we use symbols and orgone. So the regime consists of how much orgone for how many minutes, together with what symbol.
Now, you're determining that through the use of pendulum?
Yes, intuitively.
So you ask a series of questions, gather your data, and set your treatment, just like you would with a patient.
Yes, and regarding this question, there's a very interesting point, I feel. You can ask the system, what do you want?
Oh, okay.
So that for us it's a conversation.
So it's not just yeses and nos.
It's much more, yeah. It's much more. It's like if you say no or no. I mean, you know that in most cases it's a no, but you still get a certain quality behind.
It's a matter of emphasis.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
And of course you could always ask degrees as well.
Of course.
5% or 5 grams, 10 grams, whatever it might be.
That's very important. For example, if you ask how much orgone is in the forest, which is, let's say, 500 kilometers away, and you ask, there's just 5% or there's 10%, and after treatment 50% or something like that.
Yes.
So that's the way also we do controls remotely, but also we do energetic controls at site. We, at least twice a year, we drive to the site and control it.
Got it, got it.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. So here you are taking treated and untreated and showing what the difference is between the use of radionics and no radionics.
Yeah,
So
this is a very typical treatment which was done by the Delaware laboratories, you know, putting plants under stress. If there is no stress and the conditions are optimal, you might not see any effect. It's like giving a healthy person homeopathy. I mean, it's clueless.
there's nothing to measure.
No, no.
Or little.
Or very little. Yeah, another example are pine trees. Picture is taken after 2 years of treatment, and you can see here that there are much more needles. It's taken in March.
Oh, it's
Sometimes
from sparse to rich.
Yeah,
It's dramatic. Oh,
so it's reacting very fast.
this is excellent.
It's not too long, I think, 2 years for a forest. I mean, for a full-grown tree.
And what is the largest tract of land that you have treated at one time?
Oh, it's in Russia, a natural reserve, and it's 400 square kilometers.
Really?
Yeah, so it's not the biggest bit.
And so with one radionics instrument, basically, you were able to treat 400 square kilometers?
Yeah, it's like one patient. It's like, you know, information isn't really diluted. It doesn't really matter how big the patient is. The only problem is with orgone. You need to supply more orgone because it's bigger.
Nice.
So this is one big problem you have.
Yep. And because orgone's getting depleted, that is in itself a cyclical problem.
That's it. So we spend a lot of time just, you know, taking care of our institute that the orgone levels are very high and that the people are feeling very well so that we can run optimal treatments.
Right.
This is a big part, you know, of our daily tasks.
Do you have another
Yes.
that you want to show us?
Yes.
You know, the point that really needs to be made here is that your treatments are all absolutely completely natural. They do not involve any kind of chemical treatment. In fact, what they're doing is overcoming chemical treatment. All the thousands and millions of dollars that have been spent worldwide on treating our plants, our food sources with chemicals, we end up spending the rest of our lives cleansing ourselves out from the treatment.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah. You're facing a lot of problems with that. But I just want to say one positive thing about all these chemical treatments. I think if there are really extreme cases, you might need herbicides. Like, as I'm a medical doctor, you know, and a patient has a very, very bad pneumonia coming to me in the hospital, having very high fever, you know. I love to have some antibiotics, I must say.
Yeah.
And after that, to build up, to recharge the patient.
So you're
I
saying
love to
emergency
have
treatment.
emergency treatment. It's the same for a forest. It's a really bad plague, you know, with bugs also eating up the whole forest. You cannot just wait until the forest is dead.
Sure.
So you have to do something.
Because this is a slower paced treatment.
Yes.
But if you are dealing with a situation where the ground is already healthy, there's no need to bring in the chemical.
That's it. And I think the long-term, you know, prospect, that's something you should look for. In the long term, you should try to build up the system energetically, to stabilize it, to harmonize it in a way that it can maintain itself. It makes no sense in a human patient to, you know, treat them again and again with antibiotics, but perhaps there's an energetic cause beyond it, so give some acupuncture, and then perhaps the pneumonias won't come back again.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is a very extreme...
Build up the system.
Build up the system. That's it. This is a very extreme, very positive result.
Yeah.
This is a park in Vienna. We got this order from the Lower Austrian government, and they were very interested to raise up the energies there because it's a very important recreational center for them. And this area, you see lime trees here.
Yes.
And they were in a very, very bad shape. And after 3 years of treatment, you saw that there was 80% improvement of vitality. I mean, this is for us also extremely high. We are very happy if you have 20 to 30%, which is also, I think, in forestry means high, but 80% is extreme. I mean, you can imagine that it was almost dead, this tree. So You're always that lucky. So it took us 3 years, and we stopped the treatment at 1993, and we have a colleague who is, no, not a really colleague, he's what we call in Germany a tree surgeon. He's a specialist for trees and parks, which are very valuable.
Oh, we have those as well.
Ah, okay. And he visited that site in 1995, and he was amazed how good the results are. And then he asked the, how do you say, the people who are taking care for the park,
that's right.
what did you do? I mean, I never saw such a good development, because he knew the park before our treatment. And then they told, oh, we got resonance therapy. And then he called us and was amazed.
Wonderful.
And he visited also last year the site, and still the effect is remaining. So it's the same as acupuncture. If you could balance a patient, there's not extreme new stress coming to it, it stays the effect.
Absolutely.
It doesn't
Have you stepped outside of Germany, Austria, and Russia?
Yeah.
Have you reached other countries in Europe or the United States yet?
Basically, it's just within Europe. As we said, Russia, Czech Republic, Austria as well, Holland. We did a lot in Holland, which was very interesting as well, because it's a very small, crowded country with extreme problems. We were treating, for example, orchids in a greenhouse, which was a very nice experience.
For sure.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then in England and Scotland, we were treating.
And in the situation with the orchid, would you just quickly tell that story?
Yeah, it's a
good
it's
story.
a very nice story. This man, this orchid grower, has 25 years of experience with orchids, so he's,
He knows.
he knows what to do. So he's really a tradition. Even his father was growing orchids. So okay. And the thing was, it suddenly felt that the energies were going down, and he couldn't do anything conventional to raise the energies. And usually get about 75 cents per orchid if you grow one branch with about, let's say, 8 blossoms.
Yes.
So that's the price. So but the energies went down, the quality went down, he felt very sick, his wife became sick, so it was a very bad situation. And finally he got 50 cents per branch. So that's not really made him lucky. So he was not a very happy person. So the thing was, he asked us if he could help, and we felt that the energies had dropped because, ley lines, the meridians, the energy lines of Earth.
The energy grids.
The energy grid. They were blocked off because there was building activity around his greenhouse. And we could restabilize the situation. After 4 months, the quality increased so much that he got $1 per branch.
In 4 months.
Yeah, so we did the treatment within 6 months, and the whole thing stabilized. And after that, he learned how to maintain the energies on his own, on a high level. Because now it's on a very high level. It goes from 80% to 70. It's easy to do it on your own back up. If you're going, from, let's say, 10 to 15% down to 5, it's very hard for a lay person to get it back up.
So he doubled his money in 4 months.
Yeah.
He must love you.
Yeah.
And you also taught him how to maintain the higher level.
Yeah, for example, using the orgone shooter and using some very simple symbols to maintain the energy levels there.
I see the orgone shooter that you showed us.
Yes, that's exactly. You can combine them, for example, with certain symbols, and thereby.
What are those symbols from?
We use Hebrew characters, for example.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
because for us they are
Jawohl.
Jawohl. They are an old
Hebrew Metsuyan, I should say.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. They are a very old set of symbols. I think they are not. First of all, they were not designed to be used as characters as we use A, B, C in our alphabet, but there are symbols to symbolize
whole other levels of meaning and richness.
Yes, deep. What can I say? Pictures for certain situations we can come into in our life. So we use them as a set of.
They're sacred geometries. It's a set of.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can combine them with an orgone shooter, and then the information of the Hebrew characters coming, let's say, out of the tip and can fill a room, or for example, a table full of orchids with that information.
How do you decide, Franz, which letter are you going to use for which context?
You ask.
You ask in the pendulum.
Yes, that's it.
Do other
you ask the table what he wants.
Oh.
It's very important. You ground yourself, then you get into contact with that, for let's say it's a table full of orchids, this table.
Okay.
And then you ask, what do you want? And then it tells you what it wants.
Let me ask you, because we're starting to head out of time, and I want to get clear about this.
Yeah.
Are the implications of your work such that, except for those extreme crisis, emergency situations that we referred to, are you suggesting through your work that through energetic medicine, which of course is most often applied to the body, can also be applied to our earth at large and to virtually every agricultural situation so that we could be chemical-free, pesticide-free?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's even more than that. I think it's very necessary in our time. Because I talked about the energy depletion already,
Right.
and I think that's a major problem. And the more we use this chemical overload,
Yes.
the lower the energies come, the more you need of these chemicals. You know,
Got
it's
it.
like you get at a patient,
Sure.
you give him antibiotics and becomes weaker, and you get, I don't know, certain symptoms, and then you give other medicine to cover the system.
You're
symptoms.
depleting the kidneys and the liver. What do you expect?
So
Yeah.
I think then a certain combination of, let's say, conventional and now unconventional alternative approaches would be appropriate. That's what I believe in.
I got it. Okay. So, but we are positioned largely through your work and others who are doing similar kinds of activity to enrich soil that's been depleted for decades, right?
That's possible.
Regenerate the chi or the orgone vitality levels of Earth herself and the human beings that walk upon her.
Yes.
And we can do all of this free from, by and large, our usual, of this century, usual conventional treatments.
I think so. Yes. That's what I experience daily, I must say. Yeah.
Right. Well,
Daily. Okay.
this is a very powerful kind of communication to make. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's as much money in this as there is in DDT and similar things. Maybe nor should there be. But
I think the problem is that we always try to empower our clients to maintain the energy levels themselves. I think it's very important that the people who take care know how to maintain the energy levels. One good example is his orchid grower. We taught him how to feel how much water his orchids need. So he's testing, intuitively finding out how much water they need. For the first time this summer, he had no water supply problems with his orchids. So, you know, you can also solve other problems by using
great.
this holistic sense.
Exactly. Well, listen, it's been wonderful having you on the show, Franz. I really want to celebrate your work.
Thank you.
Really, I
Thank
think
you.
it's fabulous, and you're really making an important difference in the world and a major contribution.
Thank you. Enjoyed discussing it with you.
Absolutely, great. Please come back again.
I will.
After you've taken care of the rest of Germany and Europe. We will need you over here. This is Mitchell J. Rabin for A Better World. Thanks so much for joining us. Give me a call at 212-420-0800. You know I love hearing your comments. And I look forward to seeing you all next week.